Hi, my name is Noé Moreno, and I'm a licensed mortgage and real estate broker. I'm a proud El Paso native, and I'm here to facilitate real estate and finance transactions. I'm passionate about serving my city, and as a bilingual and bicultural person, I'm excited to actively participate in El Paso's renaissance and growth. My services include commercial and residential real estate, specializing in private money lending, investment opportunities, and commercial and residential real estate brokerage services. To get started, call me at 915-407-4007 or email me at noe@investwithakela.com. Thank you.
Sweet Jesus Radio. Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to Sweet Jesus Radio. I'm your host, Sweet Jesus. My guest today, he's a buddy of mine. Haven't seen him in forever, face to face at least. Thank God for social media. But he actually hit me up, wanted to talk about mental health. He's a qualified mental health professional, is what his credentials are and his title for the show here. I want to welcome to the show the homie Marcelo.
Hey, thanks for having me, Sweet Jesus Radio.
Hell yeah, man!
It's good to see you, man.
Hell yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a long time.
It's been like face to face. It's been years. And
what was it? When did we meet? Do you remember that?
Oh, meet?
Yeah.
I met you and your brothers a long time ago.
Yeah.
So some of the background, listeners, just so you know, really how I know Marcelo and his brothers is through Rich, right?
Yeah. Rich, shouts out to Rich.
Shouts to Rich.
He's
Rich
listening
Rojas.
right now.
Hopefully he listens. And basically this is a homie, Rich, that I made friends with him probably in 99, 98.
In the 90s.
Yeah, I did a hip hop show. Word got out. And he kind of reached out to me, or we met somehow to kind of he's helping me spread the word on my show. And then fast forward, 20 years later. But when was, again, listeners, some background, Marcelo's brother is Jesse Perez, who's been on the show before.
Yeah.
He is the owner of Crooks. So if you're a regular listener, then you're familiar with that episode, one of my favorite episodes, Crooks Skate Shop.
Yep.
Okay, so if you're not familiar, look it up and support local businesses. But this is his brother. So that's how I met all of them, is to the, Rich introduced. He said, my cousin's opening up a skate shop, so on and so forth.
Well, interesting enough, Jesus, when we opened up the skate shop, Rich was actually a big part of opening up that project, because he was really skilled on making sure that he knew how to do logos.
Yeah, he did the logo,
marketing.
Right?
Yeah, he's the one that actually came up with the Crooks logo.
Yeah,
and during that time, I was at an 8 to 5. Full time, and he was taking care of the shop during that time.
Yeah,
so that's when I met you. And
what year was that?
That was back in 2004.
Oh shit!
December 2004 is when we opened up the shop, and then from there, it's just been doing really good with Jesse taking control of the whole thing and making sure that he's doing a lot for the community, the skate community. But I remember you coming in with Tito a long time ago.
Tito, my partner Tito. Shout out to Tito.
And you guys had that Eye to Eye Productions, which was really cool, because you guys were doing a lot of the things that I used to like to do, which is promote a lot of the underground stuff, right?
That hip hop shit.
Yeah. And before, it was one of the things where a lot of the things that we were doing were considered underground. So you guys were bringing up the music scene and all that. Yeah. And I thought that was really awesome, man.
Yeah, because you're from Cali, right?
From Los Angeles, yeah. Born and raised, came out here for high school. And been a part of this awesome community, and what could I say, man? There's nothing like El Paso.
Hell yeah! And you used to run one of the Crooks, right? You used to have multiple. Right now, there's 2 locations.
Well, technically, between my brother and I, we pretty much just he one day, crazy story. One day he's like, you know what? I have this cash on the side that I'd like to use to open up a business. What do you think we should do?
Yeah.
And during that time, we've always been big skateboarders. I started skating back in '87, and I said, well, I think opening up a skate shop would be a pretty good thing to do.
Yeah.
And he trusted me with that, and I started, running around the city looking for the best places where you can actually put a lucrative skate shop. And I figured, hey, Skate City used to be in the Bassett area, and they're not there anymore. So let's try that area. And lo and behold, I found a place, and it was near where the old Skate City used to be, and the rest is history. He entrusted me with the project, and and we got things going, and it's kind of funny how we're talking about mental health, but I think all this kind of ties in because when we opened up the shop, we had limited amounts of money, and I relied a lot on my friends to help me out, on my homies, and I remember that we got together, and a lot of these guys were helping me out, with painting the shop, with putting graffiti up on the walls and making it look nice.
Yeah.
And shouts out to those friends. It was Gio and Idea and Ness.
Yeah, they've been on the podcast before. Check that episode out, listeners.
Yeah. And we kind of came together, and they completely helped me renovate the place because the funding was limited. So they helped me out with printing a couple things out and painting the walls and giving me some pretty good ideas as to what would be good to have in that shop. And during that time, good old Juan Idea had his resination business, and the guys were helping him out with that, and he had a section similar to El Paso, right?
Oh, yeah.
El Paso has the shirts and all that stuff, and they're doing good, and that's how resin was in Cricks as well.
Yeah, and he still does it to some degree, and I know he's, again, listeners, Juan Idea, he does the silk screen thing going too, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, but you, again, just some backstory. You had reached out to me. You wanted to talk about mental health. I've always wanted to do this topic. I just haven't gone. I wanted to do it right. So it's kind of crazy how you hit me up, and I already been wanting to do it. But also, you're thinking of doing your own podcast too, right? Kind of revolving around that.
Absolutely, yeah. Mental health, I think, is a really important thing. It's been an important thing for a long time, but they're adding they're giving it a lot of publicity because of social media and a lot of things that are happening in our society nowadays. But I think back in the 90s when we were growing up, going to high school, there was a lot of mental health issues that were taking place that we really didn't undiagnosed. But the whole coping, I think, is the most important thing, right? Because I remember, for example, music. What kind of music were we listening to at the time, and how did it make you feel? Did it make you feel good? Did you use music to help you feel better about a certain situation that you were going through? Can you use the music to kind of reminisce about being in a bad place, but then all of a sudden feeling good about being able to overcome that certain situation? I don't know. Did any albums trigger any good memories and thoughts of you growing up in the 90s that help you get through something difficult?
Excuse me. Oh man, the music I listen to, as you know, hip hop made me want to go do a drive-by.
Oh really?
No, I'm just kidding. No, man. But see, I don't know if you did your research, man, but I joke around a lot on the podcast.
Oh no, it's all right.
But no, yeah, I mean, to be honest, yeah, man, music's a big part of it. And I know that's one of the things we want to talk about is kind of positive hobbies for coping is the wording you used. But yeah, with music, just even if it's a violent song, it just makes you feel good because you like the song. Doesn't mean that you're going to go do something violent per se. Yeah. But it can change your mood. So I think that's a big one for people. You know what I mean? They're definitely going to use music to try to help get through the day or whatever mental issues they may be experiencing. Is there like
a specific song or album that you remember?
Well, back then I would say something more mellow that didn't get me necessarily like too hyped up would probably be like the Low End Theory album, which is a Tribe Called Quest.
Okay.
Yeah. That's my favorite album. Yeah. That's my favorite. Well, that one and Midnight Marauders, right? But Low End Theory, that's the one that has Scenario, which I'm already tired of fucking hearing. But, it's got a lot of great songs. Date Rape, Butter. It's got Jazz, Bugging Out.
What year did that one
out? The Jazz. That's come out on? Probably must have been like 90. Low End Theory is probably like 91. Maybe before that.
Yeah.
Maybe 90, something like that. Because I remember I was barely going into high school. So that's one of them because it's more mellow, fun, and it's a classic album with a lot of great songs. But that's
when you
Check the Rhyme's probably my favorite one. Check the Rhyme, y'all. 0.5 all the time. Yeah. That's that song. That's my favorite song on that one. But
old school, big time.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember getting into some of the hip hop that Rich was talking about. My cousin Rich, he was really big into Atmosphere And
Sage Francis.
Sage Francis was probably the Personal Journals album was probably the one that was the most influential on me. He talked about a lot of things.
It's an amazing album, one of my favorites.
If you listen to that album, a lot of it talks about mental health and overcoming
It actually does.
bad relationships, bad situations, being in situations where you're not able to make ends meet. That album has it all. And I remember there was a certain time in my life where I was like, geez, I was all over the place and looking for direction. And I remember going, listening to that album and feeling really good about, making a change. But at the same time, it's like, wow, how impactful listening to music can be and helping you out with your mental health.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of the things, I should have probably mentioned this at the beginning. Right now I'm working as a case manager for a company called El Paso Mental Health.
Yes,
So
sir.
I visit a lot with clients in their homes, and one of the things that we do is things that I encourage a lot with not only patients that are older, but also with kids, is to listen to music, your favorite types of music, because that it really offers a good avenue for getting out there and feeling good about yourself and,
Hell yeah.
and letting some of those emotions out sometimes. Crying, feeling happy, scared, or overcoming something that is just unbearable at times. Listening to a favorite song is something definitely worth doing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
How did you get into that line of work?
Well, for a long time, it's a long story, but to make a long story short, not to make it so short, but
We like long stories.
yeah, in the 90s.
Sweet Jesus, Radio, long stories.
Yeah, in the 90s, I remember my mom, she's a big influence in my life. She's always been one to get, help me get out of my comfort zone.
Awesome.
No matter what it was that went on in my life, she's always said, you know what, you need to do something bigger all the time. And, my mom barely knows English. And we moved out to Sunland Park, New Mexico after I graduated from high school. And she started working for a company called for the city, for the government.
Okay.
And for the Parenting Resource Center. And she's just like, hey, I'd like for you to help me out with this project and help out the kids and
Oh, cool.
and give them karate lessons and give them English classes and do everything possible to influence
Help them out.
and be a positive influence.
Yeah, positive influence.
for these kids and from there my passion for helping people out
Cool.
came to be.
Oh, yeah.
And I started working with families, and I started working with kids, and I ended up landing a job at the YWCA rather, as an educator. So I would go around schools in El Paso and talk about healthy relationships and abstinence and all that. And then from there I got recruited from the hospital, the government hospital, Thomason back in the day.
Yeah.
And started doing health education and health promotion with them.
Yeah, I didn't know any of this about you.
Yeah,
I think I saw you in scrubs once. Did you used to wear scrubs or am I tripping?
Sometimes I would.
Okay.
Because I also was running the clinic
Yeah,
there.
so your brother did mention some of that stuff. I just didn't know exactly what you were doing, but
Yeah, we had a clinic there, and we used to do screenings for health screenings for males, young males that would go in there and want information on healthy relationships and full physical exams and all that, and I had that project going on as well. So that's how I got into mental health. I decided I was going to go to school and get a degree in social work and human services, something that would help me put me in the hurricane of helping people.
hell yeah. We need more people like you, man.
Hey, thanks. And who would have thought? Because again, going back to mental health, I remember I graduated from Burgess High School, and one of the crazy things was that my counselor, poor grades, man, coming from California, the school system in California, didn't really prepare me as much as I thought it would help me out coming over here to the border city.
Damn.
And I struggled a lot in passing my classes and getting the grades and all that. And I remember going to my counselor, and she flat out said, because I was so behind on my credits, she's like, you know what? I don't even know if you're going to graduate from high school. So that was like kind of traumatic for me because what kind of an educator tells a student that?
Yeah,
right?
what the fuck?
Yeah, it happens. But
Happens a lot,
yeah,
actually.
I actually use that as motivation. I remember saying to myself, well, you screw this lady, I'm going to go back to I'm going to go to summer school. I'm going to go to night school, and I'm going to make it happen. So I ended up getting the credits, and to make a long story short, I ended up graduating from high school and said I was going to do something.
Oh yeah. Maybe she was trying to use reverse psychology on you.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
Kidding. No, yeah. The school I went to, there was several really mean teachers and negative, a lot of like emotional and verbal abuse, man, and racist teachers too.
Well, think about it. Does that affect you for the rest of your life? Can you think of a situation that affected you for the rest of your life? Well, we're in our 40s now.
I can't think of anything specific to me, but not specific. But there was like in third grade. This is when we're little, but I remember, there was a teacher that she wouldn't let you go to the restroom, and a buddy of mine ended up wetting his pants,
having an accident. Huh?
Yeah, so. Seeing that, it's like, damn, this bitch is crazy. Like,
well, you're pinpointing something that's specific, and you're saying to yourself, well, it happened to one of my friends, and I probably saw what he went through, and how it may have affected his life as well.
Yeah,
and those, even though it seems like it's something insignificant, it's going to carry with you. I remember this whole thing with the counselor telling me I wasn't going to graduate.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm in my 40s and I can remember that.
Yeah,
I remember her
vividly
being negative, and I'm like, well, what's going on with this? This is an adult. She's an educator. She's supposed to be somebody that's going to inspire me to do the best, so that I can, succeed and hopefully try to change the world or what have you. Yeah. But
that's what we see on TV.
Yeah,
teachers are supposed to be.
Didn't happen,
There's a lot of good ones too. Shouts to my buddy Eddie Groove. He's a teacher and a basketball coach. He does a lot.
Definitely.
So he's one of the good ones, but there's definitely some bad ones too.
Yeah, I got a lot of my friends that graduated from school that and I'm going to give him a special shout out. Zonk, I don't know if you know Zonk.
No.
Victor Muhadeen. He's an art teacher out at Parkland High School.
Oh, hell yeah.
Parkland High School. And I grew up with him, at Burgess, and great artist and an awesome skater too.
Hell yeah.
We skate together and go out and hit the ramps every now and then. But he has that type of influence on his students, which is cool because he promotes a lot of their art. And like you said, we need those type of teachers out there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because I mean, they got the youth, in their care. Mm-hmm. But when you're younger, you kind of, you see that on TV and in movies of teachers, Mm-hmm. But you grow up and you're like, oh, they're just human beings who. They hate their job just like everybody else.
Yeah, no kidding.
They just realize that they're just other humans. They're not superheroes,
And they have their, they have the things that they go through also.
Yeah, exactly. They have what? Yeah, is there an issue with the mic?
Oh no, I was just gonna lift it up a little bit, but it's cool. We got it good.
You're good. I can hear you.
Yeah.
I mean, they have every day. They have their marriages, their own mental health issues.
Exactly.
We're talking about that, money issues, whatever it may be. So. Sometimes they're going to take that frustration out there at work with these kids, what I mean? Which is not good, but they're human is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And, adults, we go through those type of things. And funny that you mentioned relationships because I'm also doing coaching.
Oh, hell yeah.
But I'm specifically targeting relatigeships and marriages and stuff like that. But, anybody who needs the information, I'm sure you'll have a link up. That way they can, get a hold of me if they need.
Just say it if you can, but I'll put it up there too. Is it like a website or?
Yeah, it's called Love, Health, and Prosperity, El Paso.
Okay.
But for the most part, they can just get a hold of me via cell phone. It's if they could always contact me 915-999-5694. And like I said, also if they needed any type of services regarding mental health at our clinic, El Paso Mental Health, we have a pro bono.
Oh shit!
So on Saturdays, if they need to see someone, if they need to talk to somebody, if they want some counseling or therapy, we do offer those services 100% free.
I didn't even know
really
that existed.
Cool. Yeah.
So that's a big deal because I bet you I'm not the only one that doesn't know that exists.
Yeah, and they could
I'm
log
gonna hit you up
website.
probably
For sure.
You'll be seeing me soon.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
know.
when you think about that, like mental health, I mean, there's a stigma behind it right now, Jesus. And the fact of the matter is a lot of people think that if they seek out help, that people are going to see them differently. And the fact of the matter is that that's not true. We all suffer from stress. Stress could be very devastating to our mental health. People don't understand that. And when you put it into perspective, you're talking about things that could affect us in our everyday living. Relationships, like you had mentioned, that's a huge one.
Yep.
Our jobs, work, having to wake up Monday mornings and coffee and all that, trying to get into the rhythm of things, the swing of things. that stuff, all of that has to do with how you function and how you direct your life towards having positive mental health. I mean, it's not always going to be flowers and good things, but the things that happen in life sometimes can take a big toll on the way we think and the way we act.
Stress can make it a lot worse. Stress in general, it exacerbates it, if you will. I hope I said that right.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, if you want to go back to, I know I asked you earlier, what do you got written down there? I know you got some notes.
Oh yeah, well, we got stuff that, like for example, we talk about. When I work with a lot of the clients that I have right now, we focus a lot on stress. We focus a lot on trauma, overcoming traumas.
Okay.
Depression, anxiety, ADHD are the most common ones. But to be honest with you, it's just everyday living.
Yeah.
And putting things in order.
Adulting, as they call it now.
That's a good way of putting it. You know what I mean? Because growing up, it's like
things that
we're
you
thinking
have to do.
Yeah,
just
it's
to
just,
survive.
Paying your bills and making sure that you're paying everything on time, because if not, you come home to a house that doesn't have electricity or water, and you said, "Hey, I was going to pay that last week, but it just totally blew my mind," right? Yeah. Or not even having the money to pay it sometimes is just stressful.
Yeah,
especially for a lot of peeps out there that have families and are trying to raise a family on a certain income. These are just things that you have to kind of look into and evaluate. This 2020, this brand new year that came into effect, is a good opportunity to put things in perspective and to put things in order.
Let's get those resolutions going.
Absolutely.
So, what are some of the, some advice or tips or things that you can recommend? Of course, going into, for people to seek help is, better to just go the full way and hit you guys up, for example, or whatever therapist that they want to work with. But at least right now in the short term, what are some recommendations as far as just dealing with stress, for example?
Well, stress.
I know we're talking about coping. We talked about the music.
Yeah, the coping is listening to music is definitely one positive thing. I always like to tell people also is and I don't want to sound too cliche, but the short term and long term goals that are out there, you have to set some of those goals into place.
Oh yeah.
But I don't call them short term and long term goals. I like to call them little wins.
Okay. There you go.
For example, little wins are important because you walk into Sweet Jesus Radio, to the studio where we're recording right here, and you see it in order. You don't see it all over the place. You see a place that's well made. It's nice and clean. Jesus likes to make sure that everything is in its proper place. Laundry where it's supposed to be, shoes where they're supposed to be, bed made, and all that good jazz, right?
Yeah.
Those are the things that we have control over.
Yep.
And those are the things that I recommend a lot of people to do at the beginning. Have a routine, a good, solid routine that is not complicated at all. You don't have to be complex. You could wake up in the morning and do the basics: brush your teeth, wash your face, jump in the shower, make yourself some coffee. But also do the little small things that are going to help you feel good about starting your day as well.
Yep.
If you see the clothing that's all over the floor, pick it up, put it in the laundry, make your bed. Making your bed is important. They actually wrote a book about starting.
I saw some video.
Yeah, starting your day with
some military guy or something.
Yeah, the admiral, right?
Yeah.
He says, if you start with the little wins, you're gonna feel better about yourself, and that's the way you want to make, give your life direction.
You completed a task, so that means you can complete other ones. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I don't typically make my bed, but I understand what he's saying. In other words, it's not about the bed. It's about having that little win, so to speak.
Exactly.
And that'll kind of set you in the right direction for the rest of the day.
Yeah. It'll start you off on a good note.
Yeah.
And those are important things to do. If you start your workday at 8:00, well, do everything possible to plan out your day so that you wake up with enough time. And I'm not going to say what time you should wake up. That's all relative. It's all up to you. You know yourself.
Yeah.
You know how long it takes for you to get up in the morning and get yourself ready or what have you. But give yourself enough time so that you're not stressing and running around all over the place. If you have kids, well, give yourself that extra amount of time to be able to plan for them as well and be able to accomplish, what you need to do during the morning to make sure that you get up and get to work at 8:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Because those little things right there are the ones that stress you out long term. So,
and putting things off is just gonna make things worse too. So you want to get those little wins.
What are you talking about as far as like putting things off? For example, we just finished Christmas. there's a lot of cats out there that, put up Christmas lights.
Yeah.
And they haven't put them away. Or even a tree or, the Christmas tree and all the decorations. All those little things can serve as wins to make you feel better about, you're using your time so that you don't have to worry about that later.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing to do.
That's a good way to put it, man. The
So
little
it's
wins.
time management.
Yeah.
Time management
I'm big
is
on that
definitely,
shit.
is important. And the fact that, like, I was really surprised. I was really cool at the fact that you and I were talking about doing this podcast, and then all of a sudden, hey, send me your email, and I'm like, okay, cool. So I send you my email, and next thing you know, I get an email with a reminder.
An invite. Yeah.
Those things are important.
I'm super organized. That's the one thing I do have, but I try to tell people the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, this is just how I am naturally. But I try to explain to people, even if you're not as organized as me or whatever, you should still strive to be a little more organized, not because it's something you want to pat yourself on the back. It just makes your life easier. You know what I mean? When things are in order, that's one less thing that you have to worry about.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But if you keep putting things off or don't do things the right way, you kind of half-ass things, it's going to be in the back of your head, like kind of bugging you. And then if it's one thing, then it's going to be two things, then 10 different things kind of in the back of your head. And that adds to your stress, and that's going to affect you.
It'll flood your mind.
So
man.
so just being organized and communicating with people, that's part of organization.
Yeah.
Wording things properly to get a certain task done instead of like being really vague. Now they're wondering, but boom, and when something doesn't get done properly, then that's another problem you have to deal with. Whereas if you're organized and you communicate it properly in the beginning, that's one less thing. So be organized, people.
Putting things in order.
Order.
For
like you said, routine also.
For your listeners out there, if they want, there's a lot of people out there that even if you don't like to read, there's a good book out there. But if you don't like to read, it's an audio as well, and it was written by a clinical psychologist who's an awesome guy, and his name is Jordan Peterson. He wrote a book called what do you call it? 12 Rules for Life. An Antidote
He's a
to Chaos.
controversial figure. Let's say the title again. I've been wanting to get it. It's on my list.
12 Rules for Life.
Yeah.
An Antidote to Chaos.
Yeah.
It's a really good book, and it just pretty much talks about
to get that.
Putting your life in order.
Yeah, man.
And right now you talked about some pretty complex things. Time management it can be complex, but also being organized can be complex. But like you said, do tiny things.
Yeah, the little wins
that make you feel good about starting your day the way you want it to be.
Yeah.
You could do that if you're a person that wants to go back to school, for example. You want to take a couple of classes for self development or growth. Make yourself available to be able to look online and say, okay, I'm gonna enroll myself, to take an extra class or to learn a certain program so that I can do things to make myself feel better. Always grow. That's the point of life, because when you get stuck and you just kind of go along your life
stagnant.
and,
Typically, that's going to make most people would be unhappy that way.
Big time. Yeah. A lot of people are get depressed because they have these insane routines where they just go to work, they come back home, and like you said, we were talking about this before we actually turned on the mics. You said, I'm the type of person that just, can't go to work at 8 o'clock, get off at 5 o'clock, come home, turn on the TV, and just watch TV for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I can't do that. I don't know
and
why
then just repeat. You just can't do it. I don't think it's
can't.
healthy for anybody to do that, to be honest with you.
I personally don't think so. I don't like to tell people what to do, but I can't. That's why I have this podcast, because I just can't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it goes back to as far as projects like that and being productive. It goes back to the little wins in a sense, because people. Another word. This is just from me, not from the expert here, but I think you'll agree. It's people don't be the person that makes excuses for everything. You know what I mean? So, but those little wins help you get to where you want to go. There's an expression: how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You know what I mean? In other words, don't look at the whole project, because then you become discouraged. Exactly. I can't do that. You do it one little thing at a time. So that's the little wins. That's where organization comes into play. Like you said, taking a class, reading a book. I don't like to read. Look at that big book. You're going to tell me you can't read one page? Just read one page every day.
Yeah.
Guess what's going to happen? You're actually not going to read. You're going to keep going. You're going to read 2. You're going to read 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And before you know it, you get hooked on that book, and you start reading a little more.
Exactly. Yeah. So things like that, workouts. I've been getting a little weight, so I started. I'm not going to. People think about the gym. They can't see themselves going, and they don't have time. You know what I do, man? I do 10 push-ups, 10 squats. No weights, no nothing.
Every day?
So you can't tell me you can't do that. So again, they're little wins. Eventually, I'm gonna get. If I string together a week or two of that, then I'll be able to go to the gym. It won't seem like such a daunting task. You know what I mean?
How long have you done that for?
Like I barely started sticking to it good. I'm probably like on day 10 without missing. So
well, after what, 20 days, it becomes a habit. So
yeah, exactly.
Something that you're not gonna be able to let go of
exactly.
doing.
And I'm already back up to 20 push-ups now. I started at 10, then 15. Now I can do 20. So I'm just an example of those little wins for me. What works for me? You know what I mean?
That's
But
awesome.
Being organized is a big part of it.
Absolutely.
The other one is when people say, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for that. All of us have the same time. All of us have 24 hours. We all have the same time. It's your lack of prioritization is where you're fucking up. So you're putting other things that do not matter ahead of the ones that do.
Yeah.
Like watching TV for 7 hours. So don't tell me you don't have time.
Yeah, not only that, but in this crazy world of social media too, it's like, all right, I don't have time to do certain things, but then if you stop to think about how much time you spend on social media,
Your phone,
all of a sudden it just adds up. YouTube or any app. There's this app that my brother showed me that talks about a lot of these memes that are out there right now, and when I downloaded the app and I was like, oh, this looks pretty cool. And I found myself all of a sudden, going into that app and looking at those memes
down the rabbit hole there.
An hour and a half, and I'm like, what's going on here? So I had to eliminate it from my phone because
that's another one. Eliminate those little things that really don't have any importance. And like you said, it does help to. I don't do it as much anymore. Well, I kind of do, but I know it helps to kind of plan your day out, write it out. If you're one of those people that claims you don't have time. All right, I get out at 5. So from 5 to 6, I'm going to dedicate to this productive task. And then from there, take a little break, 5, 10 minutes, 6 to 7. Write it out. That helps a lot too. I have apps on my phone. It's called Tasks, Google Tasks. And it's just a to-do list, but it's on the phone.
Is that a free app also?
Yeah, it's free.
Oh, well, there you have it.
So you can create multiple lists. So I have one for my immediate stuff, and then I have one for stuff that can wait. But if I don't put it in there, I'll forget.
Yeah.
But then you can set times and dates and reminders. So, I'm a list person, but those are things that help me out.
I think I'm going to download that app.
Yeah, man. There's several different ones, but yeah, you can let you check them off, and you can. It's simple, but
I
it helps.
purchased a good old planner, and I like planners because I like old school stuff. But every now and then it's not a bad thing to learn something new about technology also. So I think that I'll go ahead and download that. But going back to that whole thing with using coping. And different strategies. Music is a huge one, and I think art is also another thing. When I visit clients, also my younger clients, I see clients from 4 years of age all the way up to about 40, 50. It all depends. The oldest client that I've had was actually, I think she was 89 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
And my younger crowd, though, they love to draw, to do art. And one of the things that I like to get them to do is, I have my little coloring books that I take, my mandalas. Carl Jung, a famous also psychologist back from, Sigmund Freud eras and all that. Yeah, he had these things called mandalas where he had clients, draw and they would get distracted and they would be able to sort out certain thoughts and feel better about themselves. I carry a book, a mandala book, and with my younger crowds, if I'm having a hard time talking to them, because some of them don't like to talk.
Yeah.
They just sit there and color, and next thing you know, they'll just start asking questions or
while they're coloring,
and you'll ask them a question, and they'll answer and they'll give you a full story, and it's therapeutic. It's really cool. It's a breakthrough. So I encourage that for a lot of the clients also. Art was always a big thing growing up because in high school, I remember that's where I actually met Gio and Ness and Idea and Manny. We were all in high school. We're in art class.
Yeah.
And one thing that we had in common was graph art. And I think you had Micah here on the show the other day, right?
Yeah. A while back,
Yeah, he was super cool guy, super talented. But some of the things that we used to do also was we used to go out to this wall out in downtown. It was back in the day. It was a flower shop, and it was a wall that anybody had access to if you wanted, to draw.
Yeah.
You weren't going to get in trouble by the law or anything like that. It was just like, you know what?
Wall, permission wall.
It was your legal wall. There you go. I didn't even know you. I haven't heard those terms in a long time, to be honest with you.
I'm still in there, still in the scene, man.
Yeah, but I remember we used to take our buckets of paint out there, and we used to, buff somebody's old drawing out, old graffiti, and we used to, put our stuff up there. And it would take us anywhere from 5 to 6 hours or maybe days to finish up a piece.
Yeah, those big ones take.
But it was very therapeutic, and we didn't even know that. But we would sit there, we'd talk for hours and paint, and I remember the cuts on every lettering that you had to do, or on a facial feature that you were drawing up there. You wanted to make sure it looked clean, so you spent hours making sure that every detail of the drawing was up to par. And
hell yeah,
you'd go home at the end of the day feeling good about yourself because you did something that was good for you.
Good,
it made you feel good. It was awesome.
And it's also it takes some skill, but also even if you don't have the skill that maybe others might have, it's just the fact that you did it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
The fact that you did it and you were out there doing it, and those, like I said, those are things that I have clients do, and even my older clients. Some of them like to draw and do realistic drawings, and they'll spend hours doing those. And that's
one of the things that you would recommend. Also, just kind of drawing,
definitely
for coping.
For coping, definitely something that will definitely work for a lot of people.
What else, Marcel? I know we're short on time.
Yeah, well, the whole thing with skateboarding also. I mean, going back to that also, because opening up that shop and being able to see a lot of the older cats coming back into the shop and getting back up on their boards is something amazing as well. Going to the park and doing exercises. You're talking about doing push-ups and sit-ups and all that, but I was, getting back on your board and getting some cardio that way is a very good way. It's a hobby. It's a hobby. So anything that you like to practice, anything having to do with like you said, going to the gym, major sports, football, basketball.
So it kind of starts there. Get a hobby. Figure something out that you would enjoy.
Something that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And I know you were talking a lot about rhyming also. I didn't know that you were doing the hip hop thing and rhyming. And
I used to rap. Yeah. I still do a little bit. Yeah.
How does that make you feel when you put down a?
I mean, it's just like you said with the graph. It's like something clever pops in your head. It's like, damn, I'm pretty good. I'm good at this. So just when you do a whole song, it's like, damn, it's quite the accomplishment. So yeah, it does feel good.
Yeah.
Just to write kind of goes hand in hand with the drawing. You see this thing up here. My girlfriend gave me. She does stitching, so she'll be there for hours stitching away. So I know that helps her out. We got a painting over here. We're talking about painting and drawing. That's from the homegirl Carla Ramos. She's a great artist. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So yeah, those things. So I guess find a hobby. Find a hobby, because most people probably do like stuff, but there are some people that don't have it. I'm sure there's like a small percentage of people that don't have hobbies. So start there, I would say, I guess, right? You
got to look for things that you're going to be passionate about, and sometimes it can be difficult to do that, but it's a good way to to fight off things that can eventually become problematic in your life, and those are the things that we talk about. Stress, like I said, keeping it under control, making sure that that you have your to-do list and that you're doing things to cope with everyday life and feeling good about yourself. Also, like the whole art thing. One of the things that I did want to mention also was I think it's a clever idea. My sister-in-law had this bright idea of buying this bucket of paint. It's like a black paint. She went into her son's room and she painted one of the rooms black. Oh, okay. And that, I guess the texture of the paint turns into like this chalkboard material.
Oh shit!
So she bought a bunch of chalks for her son.
That's pretty cool.
To just go up there and just draw and do whatever he wants. And
fuck up the rest of the house, but do it in here.
There you go. This wall is for you right here, and you can just draw and
that's really cool.
I thought that was a really good idea.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that one of the good examples also for somebody to use and with their kids if they're seeing that they're going through a rough patch or that they need some sort of way to outlet and let those feelings of frustrations out. But you can't forget about the basic things also, man.
Okay.
And the basics are, making sure that you eat right. A
Oh,
lot of people
yeah,
are not
that's a
doing that
big
right
one.
now too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not definitely not a dietitian or anything like that, but stay away from foods that are going to make you feel bad.
Yeah.
And those foods can be,
It just sucks because those are the best tasting ones, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
But you feel like crap afterwards.
Exactly, yeah. Especially the ones that are high in sugar and
Yeah, that's for sure a given. You don't have to be an expert to know that one for sure. The sugar stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
Universally, everybody knows that's bad for sure.
Yeah, because if there's a lot of things out there that we purchase for our kids.
And you girls out there, you stop eating those. Oh my God, I don't get it, man. They get the Flamin' Hot Cheetos with the cheese sauce.
Oh, there you go.
And they're eating with a spoon out of a bag. I'm like, damn, dog, I can't. Nah. I grew up in the hood and all that, but I draw the line there. That's crap. That's garbage, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
no judging, but
that stuff has been around for a long time. But the fact of the matter is that some people, those are what we call comfort food sometimes.
Yeah. But damn, I don't know.
Yeah, and they don't make you feel good afterwards. But
no.
try to eat a relatively well balanced.
Well, it's
meal.
like we said. Again, we're not experts necessarily in that world, but like we said about little wins. So that's kind of what I do because I'm no expert. I'm not perfect, but if I know I'm gonna eat, because processed grains are one of the bad things. I started learning, breads and stuff like that turn into sugar in your body. Mm-hmm. So I already know eventually I'm gonna eat a burger out there. That's a given. So if that's you, try not to buy it for your home. Mm-hmm. Like my weakness is tortillas, but I used to buy tortillas. Bread for sandwiches, rice. Mm-hmm. So I eliminated all that and I only keep tortillas. So my point is it's a little win. I'm not going to go perfect vegetarian, but at least I can eliminate some little things in certain ways at certain times. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So you got to pay attention to a lot of the things that you eat out there that kind of make you feel bad also.
So you don't have to be perfect, but like little wins, like I said. Mm-hmm. And, I don't drink milk anymore because I personally believe it's bad. Yeah. But, treat yourself to some things once in a while, I would say, but they're treats. But, yeah, that's definitely going to affect your mood.
Yeah. Yeah. And, a lot of times we don't really stop to think about how it alters our moods and how it makes us feel.
Yeah, I don't think people realize that.
It's kind of crazy because, growing up, your metabolism is it doesn't really affect you as much, and you could eat whatever you want
on the surface.
But then all of a sudden, you start hitting, later years like your 30s and 40s and all that, and everything that you put into your system will have some sort of can have some sort of reaction. Yeah, it could be negative, but
yeah, with when you're younger, you have the metabolism, but you're dying inside. Just because you're thin doesn't mean you're healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
People think because you're skinny you're healthy. Like no, you could be. You're hurting yourself inside, even if you're skinny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that does tie into, like I said, mental health and stress and things like that for sure.
And also,
health issues is going to lead to you getting sick more often, so on and so forth.
So that has a big thing. It has something major in the way you think, the way you act, and taking care of your mental health. So anybody who's listening out there is you want to reevaluate sometimes if you feel that your diet is not up to par. Go ahead and make some modifications. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh yeah.
And also, don't forget. One of the things that I encourage a lot of the clients also is dream. There's nothing wrong with that.
With what?
With dreaming.
Dreaming.
Put your goals out there and aim high.
Yeah.
Aim high because you never know. You could surprise yourself with the things that are out there and the things that you can accomplish.
Getting out of the comfort zone.
I remember, when we first started up the shop, we didn't think we were going to be able to do something major, and I just envisioned it. I envisioned the fact that I was able to do it, and eventually, thank goodness, everything came into place. But it wasn't it all came out with a thought.
Yeah,
and being able to envision something that can potentially grow. So if you have plans to make your to expand your career, to make some positive things happen in your life, don't be afraid to go out there and aim high because that's the way to do it.
Oh yeah, of course. You know what else is therapeutic for me? I'm not saying I need to get back on it more because what you're talking about with your line of work and what inspired you to do it. The story with your mom and stuff like that, helping kids. That's also something that can be therapeutic. It doesn't come naturally to everybody, but go and do something for somebody. Random acts of kindness, in other words. What I mean? Just go do something for somebody. just without questioning whether you think they deserve it or not, without expecting anything in return. That helps me a lot.
Oh yeah.
And I need to do it more. I've been kind of slacking, but and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back like I'm this great person, but it feels good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, can you think of something that you did that kind of makes you feel?
It's like I said, they're little things, man. But I used to be involved in projects where we're raising money for kids that need school supplies or things with the homeless. I've been involved in multiple things. Again, I just don't like to talk about it because I don't like that type of attention. I just like doing it under the radar. But it doesn't have to be something that big. Literally, there's been times where a friend will need a favor, and the favor is kind of, I'm chilling, I'm already in my pajamas, and you kind of don't want to do it, but I just make myself do it because I know I'm going to feel good about it later, you know what I mean? And also, it's going to help them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just random acts of kindness when you don't want to. Could be something as simple as a kind word to somebody even.
Yeah.
So just yesterday, my girl, they're moving into a new house. Her mom had a bunch of stuff at the old house. And yeah, it turned out to be, and then she wanted to assemble this thing like a gazebo. So that's kind of where my time went. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I could have easily, somehow got out of it, I guess. But I'm like, no, it's going to be something that means a lot to them. It's going to make me feel good. It's a win-win all around. So random acts of kindness, just kind of put it on your to-do list. Who can I help today?
Yeah. That's a major thing, helping other people out, finding a place where you can go on and volunteer, being a big brother, big sister.
Yep.
Those are definitely things that help you out and make you feel better about yourself, and it's also very encouraged for people to do.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of places where you can go volunteer.
Yeah.
Definitely, and just get out there and like you said, get out of that comfort zone. There's a lot of people that just have this crazy comfort zone where they don't feel like doing anything anymore. You use the word stagnant.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just stuck, and daily routine is just getting the best of them.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, after a while, that just it beats down on who you are as a person.
Oh yeah.
And you no longer grow. So most definitely, be able to get into things that even things that you're not sure that you want to do. I remember that a long time ago I ran for city council.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Back in the 90s in Sunland Park.
Holy shit.
And it was actually encouraged by my mom also. She's like, you know what? I know the mayor's looking for he's somebody like you that's willing to help out and to do something positive in the community. Wow. I think it'd be good for you to run for city council. And I said, are you kidding me? I don't know anything about politics. I'm not going to get into that. So lo and behold, I said, all right, screw it. I'll do it. And I had to literally, start campaigning.
Damn.
And
I remember something like that.
Knocking on people's doors and telling them, what plans I had for the
if
community,
they've accepted Jesus as their Lord and Savior.
Yeah, there you go. A lot of them would shut their doors on me right away, right? But having to do that, getting out of that comfort zone.
Yeah, that's really big. Out of your comfort zone. That's way out for most people.
But I did it though, and it was a good experience.
What are some little because I like the fact that you brought up the little wins so early in the conversation. What are just, I don't know if you've got it written down or not, but little ways to step out of your comfort zone? Because not everybody's going to run for city council, right?
Okay, that was.
Can you? That's a good example for you. Well, for some, what would be like a little baby step out of the comfort zone? Like
a short to-do list type of thing. But it's kind of funny how you say that, because when you start off with those little wins, you automatically start gravitating towards wanting to make some bigger changes in your life as well.
That's my point.
So those things are kind of relative to the individual, to that person that wants to change. In this particular case, I mean, we're talking about being able to expose ourselves and doing something brand new and making ourselves feel good about the direction that we're giving our lives. This podcast, for example, I mean, it
recording video right now is out of my comfort zone. The first 90 episodes are all audio, but people were asking for video. Thank you, listeners. So I'm like, okay, I'll do it.
That's a step in the right direction. That's a step that's gonna help you improve your podcast, make you feel better about the whole thing. For your average, I guess, person that's listening to it, like I said, a course going back to school, starting up a business, doing something that's just
doesn't even have to be a big business. You could just do
it could be a small
maybe you
thing.
want to stitch things and sell those.
Yeah.
I'd buy that for $10, you know.
Exactly.
But it just helps you. It's therapeutic.
Offering
you know,
a service,
and then you're
you
making
know?
a little money on the side of that.
Exactly.
You know, even a smaller thing, I'll recommend something because it is relative to the person, right? But I remember at some point, I was already in my late 20s, early 30s, but I wanted to get better at talking to people, be more kind of outgoing. And so it was recommended to me by somebody else that's successful in their field. So I respect their opinion. And they said, yeah, just, you don't have to talk to everybody you see, but just start off by at work, just say good morning to everybody. Anybody you cross paths with in the hallway, even if you don't know them.
That could be a difficult thing for a lot of people to do.
It is, but it's not. But it's not as hard as starting going up to a girl and trying to start a conversation with a girl you like. Just good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning. It is hard for a lot of people, but it was hard for me. But then you do it once, you do it twice, it gets easier. Now all of a sudden, hey, good morning. What'd you do over the weekend? It gets better, and it's kind of therapeutic, and it also helped me just reach my goal of being better at talking to people. But it just felt good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's in my life. Again, like you said, it's relative to the person. But if you're like me and that's maybe something you want to do, just, again, little wins, man. You know?
Little wins to make your day.
That's what we're going to title the episode, Little Wins.
Yeah. So all this is definitely an important thing to do. And I really like for people to really take the time and to prioritize what's important for them in their lives, because our country is heading in different directions, and there's a lot of positive and there's a lot of negative in it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're the one that's in control of filtering out what you want to listen to and what you don't want to listen to, and what you want to watch and what you don't want to watch.
Who you want to associate with.
I mean, even listening to or seeing the news is just it could be stressful as well. For example, I know on this past Friday they had an incident that took place in Mexico, in Torreon, Mexico, where this kid, this little boy, 11-year-old boy, I believe, went into one of the schools and shot up a couple of students and the teacher and all that. And as I was listening to that news clip, the authorities right away wanted to blame video games because this kid was big on playing video games, like violent video games. But at the same time, as a person in the field, it's not so much the video games. It's also the exposure and the things that he's lived through also, and the people in his life,
multiple variables,
and the adults, and the time that's being spent with the kid. You know what I mean? We're not paying attention to a lot of details that we need to be paying attention to. And a lot of the kids are suffering. A lot of adults are suffering too.
Yeah.
And they don't see this.
Family's a big part of mental health as well.
Yeah.
If you can it's hard for me to speak on it. I don't have kids and stuff like that, but I've been a kid, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had a kind of a crazy upbringing, and it's affected me in a lot of negative ways. But yeah, kind of putting an emphasis on the family, doing your best to keep that together. It's going to be a win-win across the board for everybody in the family. You know what
Exactly. Forgiveness is a big thing too.
It's a big one
since
too.
we're talking about this, being out there and making amends with people that you probably have some sort of conflict with.
Yeah.
Being able to reach out and it doesn't necessarily have to be your cliche, I'm sorry for this and this and that.
Yeah.
No, just reaching out and saying, hey, how's it going? How are things? Being able to forgive and forgive yourself and feeling good about yourself. Those are just little things that like you said, volunteering and forgiveness, all that.
Random acts of kindness is a big one, and I believe that'll help a lot of people. You know what I mean?
All those things are little wins to make you feel good about yourself also. So, I encourage the listeners out there, to, like I said, get out of your comfort zone if you feel that you're in one. Do something different. Dare to be something to do something that's extremely positive in your life, that's out of your comfort zone, and feel good about yourself. There's nothing wrong with that.
Hell yeah. Anything else on the list? I know we're getting short on time.
No, just I guess I just wanted to plug in the services that we have out there.
And it's not me rushing him, listeners. Okay, he's a busy man. He's got stuff to do because regular listeners know I'll go for 2 hours sometimes on the show.
If you're experiencing any type of difficulties in your life, if you feel that you need to talk to somebody, if you feel that you may need a therapist or a counselor, El Paso Mental Health
Nice.
You can look him up on the internet, on Facebook, on Instagram.
Unless you're like Marcelo, who doesn't know how to use the internet.
No
He
kidding.
says he couldn't find his brother's episode. I go, it's literally you type in
horrible.
the Sweet Jesus Radio and your brother's name. Do you know your brother's name? Jesse? But yeah, El Paso Mental Health. Is there only one location?
Yes, it's on Viscount. It's,
okay, so it's
on
centralized.
Viscount and close to I-10.
Somewhat centralized.
If you don't have insurance, for example, they have the pro bono on Saturdays. But all you have to do is call. That's it. It's pretty simple. If you need any type of information regarding relationship advice or coaching, you could always give me a shout. My phone number is 915-999-5694. And if you wanted to get information regarding coping and helping out the people in your household cope with stress or any type of situation that they may be going through, they could also give me a buzz as well.
Oh yeah.
We didn't talk about the basic things like meditation and deep breathing and all that.
Part 2, man.
We definitely do a part 2 one day, and
well, we'll do it on yours. I'll jump on theirs again.
I think we could do. I think definitely we can do that.
This is a teaser to your podcast.
Yeah.
We'll say that. I'm gonna ask you. We only had one question from Facebook, and since the homie went out of his way to type a whole fucking essay here,
okay,
we're gonna show love by asking you. That's a lot of words there. The homie Jay Wendell on Facebook. He's also been on the podcast before. He's actually on the year in review episode 2019. So let's see if you can keep up with this long ass thing. Do you think those people who heavily believe in astrology / tarot cards, etc., use it as a coping mechanism to avoid taking on responsibility for themselves? For example, rather than work on themselves and their negative toxic traits, they simply blame it on their birth sign or the universe, quote unquote, wants it so. I don't know if that.
Wow, that's a really interesting question.
Jay. Thank you for the question,
Mr. Jay Wendell.
Yep.
Thanks for the question, most definitely. But it's an awesome question. As far as astrology and the way people think, I mean, part of what I like to do is kind of go with looking at the positive side of what it is that they're researching and how they view like zodiac. I think he's talking about zodiac signs.
Yeah,
in this
astrology,
case.
tarot cards.
But everybody has a personal preference. Everybody has a hobby. Everybody goes into reading these type of things and kind of guiding themselves with it. And if they do, and that's completely fine. If you're a person that can offer a positive light to something negative, though, on a zodiac sign, well, you can also do that. Like I said, using these coping skills. But if you feel that, that some people, if some people feel that they're having too much of a negative connotation to their life,
kind of use it as an excuse, I guess, is what he's saying.
Yeah, they might want to reevaluate reading those type of things if they're making them feel depressed all the time. Anything to anybody who's listening to this podcast, if you feel that something is toxic, if you feel something's negative that you grew up with, reevaluate it. Is it important in your life? Do you really need it? Is it gonna shed for you to do something positive, or are you gonna do something negative with it?
Yeah.
If it's not contributing to something good in your life, then the best thing to do is probably let go of that.
Yeah.
But when I visit with clients, we don't really tell them what to stay away from or what have you. We let them reflect on what's positive for them and what's negative. Cool. And then afterwards, they make the choice. Yeah. They make the changes. We just offer ideas. That's pretty much it. But this podcast is going to be relevant to just about anybody who's listening to it because like I said, listening to music, engaging in art, getting out of your comfort zone, volunteering, all these things are positive ways to make yourself feel good and to do things productive in your life. Those small wins, like you say.
Keep that gun out of your mouth.
Just do that or talk. You mentioned that's a big thing right now. Suicide's a big thing.
That's horrible.
So now that you mentioned that, you could also contact me or contact the clinic if you guys feel that you're on the brink of you just giving up. You're loved. There's somebody out there that's going to listen.
You're not alone.
You're not alone. We're here to help.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't have the suicide hotline line on me, but I'm sure we can put it up on a link so that people have access to that. But I think it's important for anybody that's listening out there to have a way out all the time, to make sure that they have loved ones that they could listen to, or a friend, or coping techniques.
Hell yeah. Okay, man. Sure. So we'll wrap up, man. Anything else you want to say? Any plugs? I mean, you've already pretty much given it all, but I'm going to give you one more opportunity. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
That's pretty much it. I want to thank you for having me on your show. This is an awesome thing that you're doing, especially for anybody who wants to promote things going on in El Paso. There's a bunch of stuff to do here in El Paso. Yeah. A lot of people out there that are like, oh, there's nothing to do in the city, but there's a lot of things to do. And thank you for that.
Yeah, man, my pleasure. So yeah, man. So thank you as well. Thank you for making time, coming through. We finally made it happen. The first time we talked about it was a while back, not too long ago, but we finally made it happen. So thank you for coming through, man. I'm just happy that you're doing all these positive things, and I got a lot of respect for you, man. So keep up the good work. We need more people like you, man. Aside from that, I want to thank the listeners. Keep spreading the word. Keep sharing the posts. As I always say on most episodes, feedback. So leave comments, or if you want to hit me in the inbox, tell me what you think about this episode, past episodes. And if you really, really want to help, there's that donate button on Facebook, of course, like I've mentioned before. We can get more equipment, cameras, do more video, and also, just paying for hosting in general. I know you actually have to pay to have this hosted on a site like SoundCloud, for example. So again, that would be appreciated. And again, just keep spreading the word. The new thing is the YouTube. So I've been trying to build that up more. We're doing more videos. So subscribe, because right now it's very few subscribers. So if you please remember to subscribe, give the thumbs up. With that said, this is Sweet Jesus Radio. Thank you for playing.
Sweet Jesus Radio.